What happens when being human becomes something you die for? This is what the world of No, I'm Not Human asks. When the sun beams down during the day to the point where you shrivel under its heat, your eyes burn at their retinas if you even peek outside of the curtain, it's driving people insane. Society is forced to take up a nocturnal life pattern, only daring to adventure out during the night sky to seek help in this apocalyptic landscape. But you aren't the only human to seek shelter during the night. No, not anymore. No, I'm Not Human is set in post-Soviet Russia and is made by Russian developers known as Trioskaz, an independent game development studio founded in 2021 by 3 friends. With the finalised demo releasing on the 8th of June 2025 and the full game releasing on September 15th 2025, they have already made a name for themselves within the horror community as a unique voice above the crowd. If you couldn't gather from my rather cryptic introduction, this is a first-person horror that requires the player to distinguish between real people and visitors that are pretending to be human. You need to provide shelter to the former and eliminate the latter, whilst following these rather cryptic signs that are provided by the government to decide who lives and who dies. You're introduced to this world by seeing the last day of normality and then meeting with your neighbour at the end of it, who warns you of what may be coming. One thing he emphasises though is to never let anyone or anything know if you're alone. Isolation is a killer, as you quickly find out that if you ignore this warning, the visitor known as the intruder will prove why you need friends even when it's the end of the world. Throughout your playthrough, you have the opportunity to perform invasive tests on your house guests during the day and accept or decline visitors in and out of your house at night. Every day, new traits are revealed via a government broadcast that might indicate someone is a visitor. The game presents you with the option to shoot anyone you deceive to not be human during the tests, or turn anyone away at the door as you please. You are the judge, jury, and executioner of this world. Throughout your playthrough, you will encounter people in yellow hazmat suits. These people work for an agency known as FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They have been tasked by the government to manage and coordinate efforts to respond to federal emergencies, and I think the sun burning people alive and human impersonators will probably check the boxes of when they need to get involved. Their main task is to understand and identify visitors. There is a FEMA broadcast that gets sent out on the 4th day that claims they've already identified 27,000 dangerous creatures so far, leading you to believe they've done a pretty good job. FEMA agents typically wear yellow hazmat suits, making them easily identifiable but also concealed, so you never actually get to find out what's behind the mask of most of these agents. Sort of ironic, since as the game progresses, the nature of the tests that they advise homeowners to enforce become more and more invasive, whilst you don't even get to talk and make eye contact with them. At the start of the first day and going forwards, FEMA provides the CR channel with information that helps identify potential visitor signs, which we will discuss later on, but these signs are shown to the player to be a definitive sign of visitor syndrome. Their methods of finding these signs though is by going door to door and forcibly taking people to gather test subjects. This starts by taking one test subject but quickly amplifies into 2 and more, with an overall invitation coming from the agents as they grow more and more desperate. One thing to note, if at any point in the game you have already got a dead body, human or not, in your house, the FEMA agents never take it. They insist on receiving alive subjects, which brings into question their primary objective, if they aren't willing to even consider taking a body. Is this to discover more information about the visitors, or is it perhaps something else? Perhaps a way to control the population? Cut down on unnecessary people? Are they working with the visitors to try and make more people end up alone? We never truly find out what's going on behind the scenes and their genuine intention. Whether you agree to it or not though, people are forced out of your house, with you having no choice in the matter of who goes and who stays. The only sway you have is by giving someone you suspect to be a visitor a FEMA notice, which guarantees that they go with them next time they're at the door. You only get a maximum of 2 of these throughout the whole game though, and that's not even a guarantee, leaving you powerless for the most part. The agents don't care who they take. It can be a grieving wife carrying the body of her dead husband, your neighbour's now orphaned child, or your local stoner. Each is taken, ferried off to some unseen fate, sacrificed in the name of science that we never see. They start taking people on the 4th day after being seen outside your house collecting some soil samples. Well, presumably anyway, who knows what they're doing. The agent is friendly, explaining that they need to take someone for research. They approach you in a professional and modest manner, something that slowly breaks away as time goes on with them becoming more and more aggressive and nonchalant, breaking away the illusion of safety and control. One thing is for sure though, no matter how the conversation goes on the 4 times that they appear, someone is leaving. We need people. Compliance is the main trait that they value. FEMA represents how institutions define the rules of discrimination. They decide what is suspicious, what signs you need to look for, and everyone just falls in line with it, resulting in excessive death. It's a chilling echo of how governments have historically dictated who belongs and who doesn't. You don't have to look too far back in history to see echoes of this in our world. Propaganda posters, wartime enemy depictions, loyalty oaths, and racial profiling policies. The paranoia of suspicion becomes law, prejudice becomes duty, and if you have questions, you're the reckless one who is wasting everyone's time. You're the one who is halting progress for everyone else. You're the one deconstructing the banner of safety. Every morning when you wake up, a broadcast plays on your TV from the CR News channel. You learn details from this broadcast about in-game events, get helpful phone numbers for you to call people.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night.
But most importantly, you learn the symptoms of being a visitor. One by one, you learn different ways to tell if someone is a visitor or not. Day 1, perfectly white teeth. Day 2, dirty fingernails. Day 3, bloodshot eyes. Day 4, hairless armpits. Day 5, black patches in aura photos. Day 6, insects inside ears. Day 7, bleeding gums. Day 8, skin irritation. Day 9, rapid pupil movement. And Day 10, fungal growth under the armpits. Now, all of these symptoms are given to the player as fact. They're from the reporter on a big news station, and none of that is questioned until you meet the vigilante.
Hello, Ebrinian.
Oh my god!
A self-acclaimed human with fingers hanging from his neck. His greasy hair and dark leather jacket give the indication that he's been out here for some time. Not much is known about him from a background perspective, but we do learn that your neighbour, the kind man who introduces you to the premise of the game, was actually his brother. His original neighbourhood, we're told, he massacred them all, letting his paranoia get the best of him and assuming the worst of everyone he met. He comes to your door a total of 3 times. Once he basically says hello in the friendliest way you can imagine a man with human teeth around his neck can, but the second and third visit you need to prove to him that you are not a visitor. Otherwise he treats you the same way he treated everyone else he's come across. Why does he bring the authenticity of the news broadcaster into question though? Well, as we just discussed, we found out on day 6 that there are insects in the ears, and that's a visitor sign. In fact, you use that yourself and you can see whether or not bugs climb out of your guest's ears. So why does he say,
"Ears? The fuck you mean ears? That's no goddamn visitor sign. You think I'm some kind of idiot? You really think I'll fall for that? You're fucking dead, smartass!"
Now, on the night that you hear this, the broadcast, it actually appears to get hacked or suffers some sort of distortion, and we see a different woman presenting this information to us, talking in cryptic language. She still seems to be a part of the CR channel, appearing in the same room but a slightly different angle and a bit zoomed in. It's not exactly hidden to the player that this isn't supposed to be shown to us. When I say that I question the authenticity of this, it isn't questioning if this is truly your sign or not. It clearly happened since it's in the game. If you never encountered anyone with bugs in their ears, then it would be easily ignored as some hack trying to throw people off. But I actually believe this to be the opposite. You see, every other sign that we've been told so far are blatantly human characteristics. I tend to have hairless armpits. My dad's fingernails tend to be dirty since he's a heating engineer. All of these are extremely human things to encounter. Perfectly white teeth, something that used to be a sign of wealthiness and cleanliness, a desirable asset, is now a death sentence. Having bugs in your ears, though, I don't really see any situation where that could be considered human. I don't know many people who actively go out of their way to shove centipedes down their ears for fun. Now, I don't normally talk about theories on this channel, but this seriously begs some questions if this was something that FEMA was trying to cover up. If you only give people characteristics that, realistically speaking, every single other human could have, then you pin everyone against everyone. There won't be a civil war against FEMA, who keeps taking people and performing some sort of backwards magician shit, if the people are too paranoid to be with people. I truly think that perhaps this mysterious woman and whoever helped her with this broadcast wasn't trying to mislead people. It wasn't some sort of professional propaganda stunt. It was her trying to genuinely help people with some solid information that FEMA perhaps wanted to bury. Instead, the vast majority of people, like the vigilante, are left with signs of being a visitor that are so fragile that the very signs you've been testing for get yourself killed by him. If you don't smoke, your teeth are too white. If you drink an energy drink, your eyes are too red. If you don't wash yourself, then you're too dirty. If you make being human a crime, then what will be left? If you forget you're human, are you still human? It's questioned in the game a few times on whether humans transform into visitors or if they're an entirely different entity themselves. This is heard as early as day 3 in a FEMA ad that states, "And if you ever start to wonder whether you might be a visitor, call our hotline," implying that perhaps you should start to question yourself too. You have the option to check yourself in the mirror. Since the paranoia is so strong, you start to question yourself. Whilst it's pretty clear that this guy is a visitor, and same with Little Miss Cat Lady over here, there is one visitor I'd like to bring up in particular. She's always a visitor no matter how many times you play, and she always appears on the second night of the game, and that is Cashier Girl. She looks frail and disfigured, but so does nearly every single other person in the game, so I suppose it doesn't really matter. She hardly remembers anything about her past, but she's terrified as she runs to your house, claiming that visitors chased her out of hers and she had no choice but to leave her roommate behind. She's deeply fearful, but is polite to you when you cater for her needs. She often talks about the world ending and being afraid of being killed herself, but she finds solace in God, often praying for God to save her life. While she has hope, she knows that things will only get worse from here on. Everything about her is pitiful, but everything about her is still human. In almost every playthrough I've watched,
but I'ma let her in.
Come on in!
Let's just let him in.
She's giving off. She's being legit. Come in.
apart from Daz,
I just don't want to let anyone in. What's this? What's the shoulder? Go away. Okay.
she is let in, with her abnormality being brushed off as the game's art style or simply trying to throw you off. But as I said before, in every playthrough, she is a visitor. But I think she's more human than you. As you go through different checks with her, it starts with her teeth. If you pull out the gun, or hear her out, she says, I went to the hospital last week because of my back, I think. Did I also go to the dentist then? How much did I spend? The days pass and you inspect her eyes. Am I really a visitor? What do you think? And why don't I know about it? Is that how people turn into them? You inspect her armpits. Am I human? Am I? Tell me I'm human, please. You take her photo. If it turns out I'm a visitor, does that mean I'll start killing people? Will I be dangerous? Was I always dangerous? Maybe I already kill people. You finally decide to pull the trigger. I'm scared of dying. Wait, can you cover my eyes? Do you have some kind of bandage? Or just let me live a little longer. If you let her live, her paranoia drives her insane, chanting that we're all going to die, screaming that she's seen the light, she's a visitor. Shoot! Shoot! What are you waiting for? Will you kill me without even a crumb of remorse? I don't care! Do what you must, human! They don't know. Well, some of them know, but some of them don't. It begs the question of, if you have two of them in your house and they're killing people in the night, how do they not know? I mean, you're the one killing them, but I can't convince myself that the cashier girl is faking this. She's paranoid from the start. Her fear feels genuine, and the more time she gets alone with her thoughts, the more she starts to drive herself to insanity, seeking your reassurance whenever she gets the chance. It's unclear the origin of the visitors. Are they some sort of zombie thing? Are they simply insane humans? Did they evolve from the well-known underground monkeys? It's stated that they crawl up from underground using the dirt from their fingernails as evidence of that, but that is literally the extent of what we find out. There is one interesting theory that GamerSoul pointed out though, that they are in fact humans just controlled by brain parasites. Great video by the way, you should definitely check it out after this one. And whilst you're there, why don't you subscribe? You know, you've made it this far and I never usually ask, so it would be rude not to. Maybe the point of the visitors not being aware that they are visitors is because we're not aware of what makes us human. Is it our mortality, our empathy, our ability to form faith, laws, worship? When our memories become foggy, when your body is failing, when fear takes over, what's left? Cashier Girl's panic isn't monstrous. She's clinging to the only identity that she thought she had, begging to be told that she's still human. Who are we to decide that when we still check the mirror for our own fate? The line between human and visitor isn't biological, it's psychological. You aren't a visitor because your eyes are red, your nails are dirty, or your skin is irritated. You're a visitor because you've lost what it meant to be human. Relating this to real life, non-cryptic shit, this game uses its narrative as a way to reflect the mirror onto us. Not in a sci-fi way, but in a quiet human way. We can often lose ourselves in the routine of daily life, the trauma, expectations. We change job, relationship, belief, and sometimes when you finally pause and look at who you are, you don't recognize the person staring back. Mental health struggles such as dissociation, amnesia, PTSD can make people feel detached from reality, like they're watching someone else's life through a window or living someone else's story. It's terrifyingly close to how the visitors feel. They can't quite grasp the ground beneath their feet to steady themselves, understanding that something is wrong, but powerless to look further in. Even outside of mental illness, think about how easily you are shaped by those around you and what you're told to value. Perhaps an old friend group had you thinking different morals. A previous job role had you disregarding things you used to love. Is it really me? Is it just what I've been told to become? This fear is universal. It's not just fictional. We all want to know the same thing. Am I really human? You're not identifying visitors, you're identifying humans. We like to think that humanity is something that's fixed, that no matter what happens, it's something that we are. But No, I'm Not Human reminds us that our humanity is something that we need to protect, a fragile thread that is woven through our choices and empathy, not our DNA. If fear makes you kill the innocent, if routine makes you forget who you are, if control makes you blind to compassion, maybe all it really takes to become a visitor is to forget to look in the mirror. Thank you so much for getting all the way through the video. I know that it's a bit of a different style from my usual, very much more serious, but I suppose it's a much more serious game than Minecraft at the end of the day. I would love to hear your opinion below in the comments of what you think No, I'm Not Human is actually about and what messages you might take away from the game, because who knows, I'm probably entirely wrong and this isn't what it was supposed to be taken as at all. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe. I am a very small channel, so I really appreciate each and every one of you. And if you like what you see, then why don't you check out one of the videos which are on the screen now. It helps the YouTube algorithm out a lot, apparently, or so I'm told. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.